Hi, y'all. Welcome to Lunchtime with Anna. I tell Jessica this morning, make sure you log in a few minutes early just in case anything happens and I'm the one with technical difficulties. You guys can see I'm airing from my office this afternoon. So I'm sure many of you guys saw the promotion going on. Jessica is Eric's mom. Eric's story, I actually have some people that want to tune in because they know it from the other side. They know it where they actually catch, they're predator catchers and they catch them. So they might call in with a few questions later just to see, because they also want to make their audience aware of what impact this can have, right, on all of our children. But I'll let Jessica explain that. Before I go into that, I'd like to, and I'll put it on the banner. If you guys have any questions or anything, please give us a call at 321-252-8084. And I'll put it to go down on the bottom for you guys to see throughout the show. I think I made a mistake because I was in such a hurry this morning. Please be sure that whenever you guys do call that number, it is just for today's show. Do not call me about GoFundMe because I'm only going to transfer you right over to Jessica. I know nothing about the GoFundMe. I only know what's been told to me. So just please make sure that, I want you guys to be aware of that. Jessica, if you could, it's a pleasure to see you in person, right?
Yeah, you too.
We've spoken a lot. You're an amazing woman. Yes. If you could go ahead and tell a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
Sure. Well,
thank you.
First off, let me start off by saying thank you for having me. I love your show. But before I get into Eric's whole story, I want to kind of tell you who Eric is before we jump into why we're here. Eric is the kid who in 9th grade, he received the award for most generous in the 9th grade. He started an anti-bullying campaign in his high school. He also started a fundraiser to fix all of the broken ramps for the disabled children that go to school with him. They were all very bad, just rotten wood. The steps were bad. So he actually started a fundraiser and he raised enough money to fix all the ramps inside and outside of the school, which he also donated to with his own money. I mean, this is the kid that would help anybody, would do anything. And what makes his story so unique is that Eric could literally be anybody's child. Anybody who's listening to this now or watches it later, I urge you to, if you have a teenager in the ages of 14 to 17, 18, check their phone, see if they have the Snapchat app or any other app, and just see what they're doing. Because as we all know, teenagers are all on their phone, right? They don't care. Dinner, grandparents, they don't care, right? So it's completely normal for your child to be completely immersed into their phone. But what I wasn't aware of, and I found out too late, which is why I'm trying to help everybody else, is that those phones are potential dangers for your children. What had happened to my son? So Eric turned 18 August 1st of 2021. September 1st of 2021, the FBI came into his home and arrested him. He is being charged with 2 counts of production of child pornography, which each count is a minimum 15 years, maximum 30. These are federal charges. There's no parole. There's no early release. There's no probation. And he's also being charged with 1 count of possession of child pornography. The reason he's being charged that way is because on his Snapchat account, which he made when he was 17, there were 2 16-year-old girls that sent him nude photos of themselves, videos of themselves, explicit text messaging back and forth. And because my son turned 18, he's being charged with child pornography charges for two 16-year-old girls. It's crazy that he's being charged this way. He doesn't even realize why he is in the position that he's in. He doesn't understand what he did because he was talking to other 16-year-old girls, which in the state that he's in, the state of consent is 16. So he just turned 18. I mean, they're in his dating pool. He could have dated these girls and he would have been fine. But because he has a picture of them, he's a predator. He's a criminal. He's, all these things. So he got arrested in September and he has been sitting in jail since September. They will not give him a bond. They refused his bond. And I actually have with me right here, I have his public records right here. And I just found this out yesterday because I got these records yesterday. And it says that he was denied bond because by clear and convincing evidence that no condition or combination of conditions of release will reasonably assure the safety of any other person or the community. So they're saying that because he talked to 16-year-old girls, he's not safe. Like, your kids are not safe, which is ridiculous. But, every aspect of this case is just so unbelievable, to the charges, to how they got him to confess, to having his phone. So when he got arrested in September, what had happened is the FBI had come into the home, not the police, the FBI had come into the home, and they had taken my ex-husband out first because he lived with his dad when all this went. I wasn't there. This is what Eric told me happened. They came into the house, they took his dad out first, and then they came and they took him, put him into a car. They then the FBI then gave him a card to read, which happened to be his Miranda rights, which he didn't even know what it was. So he read himself his own rights. The agent then asked him, "Do you understand that?" He says, "No, but what's going on?" So the agent then skips over the no part and tells him, "We don't have a warrant for your arrest, so you're not going to jail, but we have a warrant for your phone, your Xbox, your computer, whatever electronics you own." He's like, "Okay." Then they told him every time they would talk to him, they would start the conversation with, "You're not going to jail. Just understand we don't have an arrest warrant. You're not going to jail." They then continue to ask him, "Where's your phone? Is this your account? Is this your name?" All these questions. He's like, "Yes." He answered everything because, he's an honest kid. He didn't know what was going on. So right before they let him out, they say, "Oh, well, I need you to open your phone for me and give me the password to your Snapchat account before you can go back in your house." And he did it because he doesn't know that he's not supposed to. He thought if he didn't, he would go to jail. So as soon as he did that, they then told him, "Okay, just hang out for a second. I'll be right back." They then called the prosecutor, Jason Hart, told him that they got him to open the phone, and they arrested him that night. So he's been in jail since September 1st.
Okay, so I want to go back to a few questions, and I see Demita. Demita, hello. I'm on a different computer, so I'm not able to see some of the stuff. I'm trying to figure it out because I'm here from my work laptop. I think I just figured it out. I see Demita's on there. So Demita, I will gladly love to take a lot of these comments that you have, as well as Larry. Hello, shout out to you as well. I know both of you guys are working, and I appreciate that with Demita and with Jessica and Eric, and I appreciate y'all bringing her to me. With that being said, let me go back. Because I know us mothers, we get overwhelmed when it comes to our children. And, just off the record, I did tell Jessica before we aired this morning, I'm also a special needs mother. So I see that special fight in her that other people just don't have. It's just a different type of fight because we've had to do this for years and no one will ever understand unless you're in our situation. So with that being said, I get the emotion. However, I have to go back. I want to remind the audience of one thing. 16, 17 at the time, had a birthday, now 18. 16, 17 at the time, had a birthday, now 18. This went back and forth with 2 young ladies, right?
Yes.
Are any of the young ladies charged with any, because of course, if he received it, they also sent it, so it's also on their device. Are they charged with any charges?
They are not. And
Okay.
I have asked. I had called the U.S. Attorney's Office. I had called the FBI. I
Mhm.
even spoke to my son's public defender and I asked, why are these girls not being charged? Because you're going to charge an 18-year-old boy for receiving the child porn, but you're not going to charge the girls who made it, who produced it, who distributed it. I mean, they have more charges on them than my son does on himself. But they are considered victims. They're not considered defendants in this case. My son is the only defendant. He's the only one that is being charged with anything. And my son, he had a full ride to college. I mean, he was 5 days from going to college before he was arrested. And, they are telling him, that he just wasn't, and I see Larry's comment there on the bottom. And if you want, I can get into that as well.
Yeah.
There is a law, because what my son did with these 2 girls is not new. Like, this is not like, oh my God, what do we do with this? This is such an epidemic that they have actually put into Congress. It is called the Teen Sexting Law. And you can look it up. It's in every state. And what that law is that it is put in place to protect children so they are not caught up in the adult system. If this was charged on
who asked?
Yeah, if he was being tried on the state level under this law, he would have got probation, 30 days of probation, because he has no.
So it's called
the Teen Sexting Law. Mm-hmm.
Sexting, correct? Not texting, sexting.
Sexting.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because I am posting it on there, just so that everyone is able to as well look it up.
Yeah.
And when I made the post for the commercial, I made sure that I put the DA involved in this case, and we'll go into that in a little while.
Yep.
As well as I put in who his public defender is, because he still hasn't started anywhere. Demita and I, I'm not, I'm just meeting Larry, but Demita and I are very, very, very big on sitting there from beginning to end and helping every single client and close that file positively for every single client that we take. So, she's amazing when it comes to that.
Demita, she jumped right in. I mean, I literally messaged her just like, hey, could you share this for me? And she was like, call me right now. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, okay, this is me. Like, I like this girl. She's just like me. And, shows like yours and, Larry Williams, he also has a podcast that's called Tear Talk, and it's on Spotify. And if you guys, anybody who's watching this now, if you guys love Lunchtime with Anna, I would really encourage you to check out Tear Talk, because he really gets to the nitty gritty of a lot of important issues that I didn't even know were around. I mean, there's a lot of issues out there. But, he has spoken to my son, I think, almost every single night. My son calls him. I think, like, they talk so much. He talks to my son probably more than I do. But, that's also a great platform. And before all this happened, I was so naive to all of this podcast, social media. Like, I didn't really understand it. And I met Larry Williams, and he was like the first person who was like, actually took an interest in the story, but not because of the story, because of the age of my son, the charges he's looking at, and he understands all that, on his own side. And it just kind of like spiraled into where I'm at now with Lunchtime with Anna, which I'm so pleased to be here. But I mean, yeah, if it wasn't for people like you and Demita and Larry and, you know, a whole bunch of so many other people that I've met through my journey, I would probably still be shadowboxing by myself right now. And that's hard to do. So.
Well, okay. I want to go back to a few things. And why? Because I like my listening audience, you know, they might be a little spoiled because I like to step everything because I understand. Larry might understand. Amita might understand. Now you might understand. But Christine, who I know is there, shout out Christine, who I know is watching right now, she might not understand as well as everyone else what these laws are. Okay.
Yeah.
He gets arrested. He's, you know, at home, gets arrested by the feds. They come in and I'm assuming kick the door or they knock on the door, whatever. Okay.
No, they kicked it in.
They come
AK-47s, fully automatic. Like a kingpin lives there.
So this is one of my questions, and I'm only asking you this because it was asked to me earlier by someone else who deals with law, if you may or know the answer or maybe not.
Sure.
That you're aware of, and I want to make a quick disclaimer, and I forgot to do it at the beginning because I was a little stressed out on my internet or whatever. According to Jessica, everything she's saying, to the best of her knowledge, it's facts.
Yes.
And of course, with me being Lunchtime with Anna, I will make the disclaimer, right, to avoid any future repercussions, right? That all of these are allegations. Until they go to court, nothing's proven. Okay, so I just want to make sure, in case there's somebody watching who works on the other side and hates advocates, there you go. So with that being said, Jessica, he goes, okay, the door gets kicked in. Now this is my question to you. By any chance, for any reason, did Eric share anything of what was sent to him at all?
No.
With anyone else that wasn't Eric's device?
He never.
So it wasn't shared because that would involve the.
Yeah, no, he never shared anything. He never uploaded anything. He kept it on his phone through Snapchat, and you know they're charging him with production because they're going to charge him with production because they're saying that he asked for a photo. That's where the 2 counts of production come in to play because they're saying that through the texting back and forth, he had said, "Hey, you know, send me a picture of what you're doing right now." And the girl then sent him a naked picture. He didn't say, "Send me a naked picture." He said, "Hey, like, you know, what are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, laying in bed." These are just, I don't really know, but I'm just kind of giving you like, you know, "Hey, what are you doing?" Yeah. "Oh, hey, I'm laying in bed." "Oh, hey, send me a picture." And then she sends him a picture of herself naked laying in bed. So he's getting charged with production because of that conversation.
Okay.
That's how slippery the slope is. I mean,
that was going to be my next question to you. Did he specify, to your knowledge, right? This is the picture that I want. This is the picture that I'm looking for. Anything like that. Send me an undressed picture, you know, and I have to use proper terms, even though you guys can put it in your head of, you know, whatever. Now, one other question that I had to go back. What are your son's actual charges he's sitting right in there right now for?
He's in there for 2 counts of production of child pornography and 1 count of possession. So my son is going to go to trial. And if he's found guilty, he could get 70 years for what he's done. He will die in prison if he's convicted. Yes. This isn't,
Over
1 year, a 2 year, probation. No. These are federal charges, not state.
This is my next question, Ian. The raid happens. Any idea what took place, why the raid, how the feds got involved? Have you been able to figure that out? Have you been able to get any of that information thus far?
The only thing that I was told about this was that, and this is all hypothetical because I don't know. My son's public defender said that what most likely happened was that the one girl, she must have gotten caught, either sending pictures or whatever. Her parents maybe have caught her. So what does she do? Normal, a teenage girl, she gets afraid, right? She's like, oh my God, okay, now I'm caught. What do? I blame the boy. He made me. He threatened me. I had to. I didn't want to, but I had to. So I'm guessing her parents took that information and gave it to whoever they gave it to, which in turn ended up with the FBI. Now, here's the part that doesn't make sense is that I live in Philadelphia and I called my U.S. attorney's office and I explained the latitude of this case. And then, just like every other attorney that I've spoken to has all told me the same thing. This does not make a federal case. There's no reason for your son to be charged federally. Everybody that I've spoken to, they all agree that either this girl's parents may know the prosecutor, may know somebody in the office. I don't know what that connection is yet. But these two 16-year-old girls, one of their parents.
Okay, so Tawanda. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's it. Go ahead. You were talking.
Oh, I don't know if that's your internet or if I'm having difficulties here. But Tawanda, she just said it. Both of her parents, both of the young ladies were 16 at the time that this happened, and her son Eric was 17. However, he turned 18 a month later and was charged with possession. And,
but with that being said, on his complaint, it states on there that this girl, whoever reported Eric to the FBI, he was reported in June. He was 17 when he was reported. When this got laid on the Fed's desk, he was 17. He was a minor. Why they waited until the day he turned 18 to file the paperwork for his arrest warrant, nobody can tell me that either. They filed the paperwork on my son August 1st, on his 18th birthday. So they sat on this for 2 months. And then what else doesn't make sense too is that whichever one of these two girls reported my son, that same girl, when my son had turned 18, August 3rd, she reached out to my son and was like, hey, what are you doing? And started sending him all kinds of sexy pictures of herself without my son even acknowledging her.
Obviously, it was her.
So if that's not entrapment, I mean, I don't know what is, because they could have nipped this in the bud in June and said, hey, to the state DA, like, hey, this is what's going on, like, handle it on the teen sexting law, which is why we have them, and like take care of this. And I guarantee you he would have 100% stopped talking to these girls. Like, he would have been like, oh no, like, now if you talk to him, he's supposed to call you actually in about 4 minutes if he's on time. But
yeah,
I'm not saying that my son didn't do anything. I'm not saying that, my son, is an angel. I'm saying that my son is a teenage boy with other teenage girls. And if you took every 17 or 18-year-old boy's phone and looked in it, and found a naked picture of a girl who's, 16 or 17 years old, do you know how many young men would be in prison right now? You wouldn't be able to keep them all in prison. 2.7 billion people use Snapchat, and they're all under the age of 15. I mean, the statistics are so ridiculous, but for some reason, there's other avenues to go, but they are dead set. Jason Hart, the U.S. Attorney Prosecutor of Wichita, is dead set on nailing my son for being an 18-year-old kid being charged with these super adult crimes. He's charging an 18-year-old boy for having pictures of 16-year-old girls the same way that he would charge a 65-year-old man for sleeping with a 12-year-old. That's how much time he's trying to give my son. And his public defender is doing nothing to help him.
And you guys, I told Jessica from the beginning, the first time I spoke with her, and as I'm sure Larry and Damita have as well. Usually they all work together. No matter what, they're all buddy. They all work together. They're just trying to railroad whoever. We see it over and over and over. Every time I read a client's file, I'm like, wow, this was obvious. And, they didn't know any better. So now I want to go back. So we're still, the raid is going on. If you could tell what happened with your ex as well as what took place, and then I'll ask questions from there. Guys, if I'm missing any questions, please feel free to put them on there. I have no problem with reading them or showing them, and she can see them as well, and she could respond to them as well.
Yeah.
So just
as far as where my ex was, when the raid took place, my son was in the basement. His room was in the basement. My ex's was like on the first floor. They took my ex first and put him in a separate car down the street, then came back and grabbed my son, knowing he was 18 and he did not need a parent. That is why my son spoke, because first of all, nobody knew what was going on. It's not like he was selling drugs at a house and my ex-husband was like, okay, I know why you're here. Don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. Nobody knew why they were there because nobody knew what was going on. So at first, my ex thought they had the wrong house because that's what I would think. If the FBI came into my house looking for one of my kids, I would be like, you have the wrong house, especially if there's nothing going on that you know about. But that's the issue is that parents don't know, in Eric's case particularly, you don't have to be selling drugs or shooting people or robbing people to commit a crime. Apparently you can do it in your own house, in your own bedroom, and nobody knows the difference. Like I have a 17-year-old son as well. And I made him break up with his girlfriend who just turned 17 because he's going to be 18 in August as well. He's 11 months younger than his brother. And I told him, I said, you have to break up with her. You have to. You're going to be 18 in August. Do it now because it's not going to be any easier in 5 months. Like I look at everybody differently now. And my son does as well. It's like, they take a child and they lock him in a room for 24 hours a day with actual predators. He is in a sex offender pod because of the nature of his crime. So they took a child and locked him in a room with 10 other predators 24 hours a day rather than letting him come home with his mom. Because his public defender told him, you can't get another bond hearing. He has lied to him on so many levels, and which I found out was not true. And thanks to Damita and thanks to Larry, my son did write an open letter to the judge, and he is going to get a hearing to have a new bond hearing because he did it upon himself with the work with Damita, with Larry, with myself. But that's why I did start a GoFundMe page for him because we want to get him a private attorney. he cannot go to trial with a public defender telling him your best bet is 25-year plea deal. It's absolutely not. And I found an attorney, and you wouldn't believe how expensive they are. I mean, I've been quoted anywhere from $125 to $250 for a retainer fee. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, not $250. So I did find one that I like and that he's willing to work with me. And he's going to charge me $80,000 to take over Eric's case. My husband has drained his annuity. My car has been sold. My jewelry's been sold. Everything that we have that has any form of value is gone. And I'm still $10,000 short for his attorney. So I do have a GoFundMe page up for him. It's Justice for Eric, FOR, not the number 4. You'll see it because he's in his graduation cap, his gown. He still has braces on his teeth, Anna, which is a whole separate situation because 2 of his brackets have fallen off, and he swallowed 2, and he's had 2 cheek infections because the wire is jamming him in his mouth. Nobody cares. They give him wax.
Oh, I know. My daughter has braces. Right?
Yeah. So he's been in there for 8 months with no treatment. So that's another thing. But I mean, he definitely needs that private attorney because I need to get him out on bond, number 1, because his public defender is just incompetent. He's completely, my son has never seen anything against him. He's never seen a picture. He's never seen a text message. He's never seen everything that he's being told verbally by his public defender. I sent him his complaint, and that was the first time he's ever seen.
What advice I am going to give you, and I always tell clients this, and I'm sure that Demita as well as Larry may have told you this already. I'm sure they have.
Yep.
Please try to get everything like on email. Backing up our conversation as per our conversation, or going back, whatever language you want to use there, making sure that there's a paper trail to cover you, because if they don't respond, it also shows guilt, right? If they do respond, then it also works to your advantage, right? So make sure you do that. The other question I had for you was the girl, okay. And I know you might not know this, and I can't wait till he calls in because I want to ask him this question. You said something that rung to me. When he was 17 years old, whatever was sent, that was what, a picture? Is that correct?
I believe, yes. On their end, my son never sent them anything.
Okay, so they sent your son, you said a picture? I'm sorry, your signal came in left, or it might be mine.
I believe it's a picture, yeah. Mm-hmm. I believe.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was me or if it was you.
I do believe it was a picture, yes. To answer your question, yes.
Okay. Now, I'm not trying to be I'm asking a serious question. The one girl, and I can tell you right now, the one girl that reached out to him when he turned 18, that's who it is. And why, when you said that, it rung to me, they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough. They just didn't. At that point, you got somebody sending. So that's something that I don't know what the exact laws are on that. You've been tricked into doing that because at this point, they're still around the same age too. And with a good attorney, I am pretty sure that they can be like, no, if the parents had already reached out 2 months ago, because I listen very closely to what somebody says to me, 2 months ago, reached out to tell on the 17-year-old kid, it does not make sense to me that at 18, this girl just reached out to him out the blue and just started sending him a whole bunch of stuff when they hadn't probably talked in 2 months.
Yep. And
whatever.
the attorney that I'm trying to obtain, he told me the same thing. He said that the way that the confession went down with my son, he said, this is an easy case. The way that the confession went down with my son, if that's how it went down, because my son said it was all recorded, all his attorney has to do is go before a judge and say, I want to suppress his confession and everything along with it. With that being said, that phone is suppressed. You have no phone, you have no evidence. Everything they have off my son came from his phone. But his public defender, every time I tell him, let's do this. No, we can't do that. Well, why is he not being charged with teen sexting? I don't know. Why is he being charged federal? I don't know. How do you not know? How do you not know? You're a federal public defender. How do you not know why my son is in your custody right now? How do you not know? And then you tell an 18-year-old kid that if he uses his constitutional rights to have a trial, which is his right to do, that if he doesn't sign a 25-year plea deal, that if he goes to trial and you lose, they are going to stack your charges and you will die in prison. That's what his public defender told him because he does not want him to go to trial. That doesn't sound like somebody who's on his side to me.
And so and that's exactly, see, Tawanda's saying exactly what I say. You guys, reach out to Tawanda Graves. She is also an outstanding advocate. Her and I collaborate on a lot of things together. She works a lot with missing and exploited children.
No, that's not Eric.
She's a wonderful contact to have. I love that lady. Hi, beautiful. How are you, handsome?
He thinks that you're Eric because we always do Eric's video chat. So every time he sees the laptop up, he thinks it's Eric.
They don't know. They don't know their innocence.
Yeah.
So
Go back to
let's go back to the raid. And guys, I keep going back and I keep trying to let you guys understand because I know her emotions are high. I know it would be me. So I understand. So I'm like, okay, I'll let her let it all out. Then she's gonna get it out. I told her, get out whatever you want. You have as long as you want on my platform. This is my platform. That's why I left FM station to be able to do all of this how I want to do it and make sure that the word gets out the way it's supposed to get out and whatever that person has to say, it's said. Now, my question to you is, the raid happens. Your son doesn't know what's going on. Your ex doesn't know what's going on. He's put into a police car.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep.
What happens with Eric?
They put Eric in a separate police car, and that's when they can start to question him. And they make him read his own rights. Then they ask him, do you understand that? And he says no. But then he jumps off with what's going on. So now they bypass the I don't understand my rights part and jump into you're not being arrested. You're not being arrested. They just kept telling him you're not being arrested. So you can talk to us because we're not here to arrest you. So he's talking to them because at this point he still doesn't.
So they were playing the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, because at this point he still doesn't understand what's going on because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. So at this point he's trying to figure out just as much as everybody else is trying to figure out here what's happening. So he's answering their questions like, is this your Snapchat account? Yes. Is this your phone? Yes. Do you know, is this your account and yours alone? Yes. Have you ever shared this account with anybody? No. And then at the end, they go, okay, well, we're going to let you go back in the house and talk to your dad, but we need you to open this phone and we need your account password to your Snapchat. So the way he's talking to them, he assumed that he had to tell them, or he couldn't leave. That's what he was coerced into, a confession that he didn't realize he was even giving. Donald. Okay. Okay. Can you excuse me for 1 second? My 3-year-old has to pee.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Guys, if you have any questions, you guys can always call. And I intentionally did bring more than one device to be able to hear if anybody wants to call, give their input. What baffles me is that all of our children, because this is an electronic era, right, age, all of our children are on these devices, sending this stuff or receiving it or looking at it. I have been in the past on my one of my teenagers' Instagram, and these teenagers actually have what they call a spam page. Check your children's devices. It's not their device. They don't pay for it. Okay? It's not their device. It's your property. I don't care what any psychologist tells me, because at the end of the day, the only one worried about her baby right now is Jessica and the dad and whoever else is close to Eric. That's it. So it is not their device. You pay that device. You pay that bill. That is your device. You know what I used to do to my daughter's page? Every time I got onto her device and I saw that a spam page was following her and there was anything inappropriate, I blocked the page right away. Because there's no reason why I should be seeing that, much less they should be seeing that in middle school. At the time, that was middle school. So it starts young. Now she's about to graduate high school. It's a little different because now she's accountable. She's also 18 for her own mistakes at this point.
Now,
so, hey, Angie. Go ahead.
Since you brought that up, I also would like to use that as an example as well, because so these two girls and my son, right? They've never met. They don't know each other. My son doesn't even know their real name. He just knows their Snapchat. It's not like they went to school together. It's not like, he asked to meet them later. Like, that was never, he's never even spoken to them on the phone. Now, here's the thing. You're a 16-year-old girl. And let's just say, hypothetically, that he did harass them. Oh, send me a picture. Oh, send me this. Oh, send me that. To somebody you don't know. At 16 years old, you can block a person, right? I mean, you know how to hit that button. You don't have to send them anything. You see what I mean? Like, so even if whatever they're saying against my son, at the end of the day, they sent him whatever they sent him on their own free will. He was not there with a gun to their head saying, take off your top and let me take your picture. Absolutely not. They had every right to be like, no, you're a creep or whatever, and block him. If, let's just say that if it happened the way that they're saying it happened, that he made them say, how do you make somebody send you a naked picture of yourself? How does that even work when you've never even met in real life?
Yeah.
And I want to be very honest with everybody. It's even us adults. Let's be honest here. We get unsolicited pictures sometimes, and unsolicited video sometimes. I know for me, I block you. I don't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a grown woman. What is a child going to do? It's new. It's exploring their mind. We all know no child to the age of 25 is their brain even right. They haven't matured. Any child. I tell all my children, do not leave my house till you're 25 because you have no maturity. And that's true.
And boys are worse than girls.
Yeah. Shout out to Angie Lanier. I love that lady. She's an awesome fighter for Matthew Baker as well. an outstanding interview we did a few months ago, back in November. And she's right. Don't stop fighting. And that's my advice to any and all mothers. Never, ever stop fighting.
I mean, luckily I don't do anymore, but my son is not going to take a plea deal. This is going to end in a trial. There's no way I'm going to let my son sign away any years of his life for something that is stupid teenagers doing stupid teenage things. And absolutely am I not going to let my son sign away 25 years of his life when this girl is sitting at home living her life with no consequences for her actions. Like, if you want to charge my son in this manner, then you need to charge everybody involved, not just the boy. Because what if my son was a girl and was like, oh, send me pictures. Do you think we'd be talking right now? Because I don't think we would be. I think because he's a boy, he's being charged, and this girl is a victim and my son is a predator. But if she sent him the pictures, wouldn't he be a victim as well? Because she spammed him with child porn, but he's a predator. She's a victim. That's not right. They're both stupid teenagers doing stupid teenage things. And if you want to charge one, you need to charge everybody, not just my son, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And I see a comment from Angie.
And Tawanda has a good point.
My son's attorney won't even talk to me. He hates me.
You said what?
I see the comment from Angie saying, don't back down from your attorneys. But my son's attorney hates my guts. He won't even talk to me because I question him on everything that he does. And like, he literally blocked me. He will not speak to me.
Okay. And I want, that was my next question. As he was being questioned by the FBI, he's, they're playing good cop, or, I say nice cop. They're playing his friend, it's, just to get him to confess whatever. So it's a trick. That's a trick they use. And I know that so well because I actually play a cop on one of the series that we do. And I practice that, right? So I practice how they do that. Question to you is, once he told them, I don't understand what's going on when they're asking him, do you know your Miranda rights? I have two questions. One is, well, I guess we would find that out in discovery, but was that recorded? Because they're supposed to have a video camera somewhere going along to record all of that, right? The second question is, why didn't they stop right then and all? Because is my understanding, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, aren't they supposed to stop right there to make sure he does understand?
Yep. Now, when they didn't even read him his rights. He read his own rights. They gave him a piece of paper and said, read this. They did ask him, and it is recorded. Okay. My son said that it was recorded. They asked him after he read himself the rights, do you understand? He said no, but then he followed up with what's going on. So they completely skipped over the no and answered his question and said, like, this is what's going on. We need your phone. We need this. We need that. My son was not asked if he wanted an attorney until he was on his way to the jail after his second interview in an interrogation room. So he was talked to in the car. He was talked to all the way to Wichita, which is an hour and a half drive from Hutch. And then he was also talked to in an interrogation room. And he was not asked if he wanted an attorney until he was on his way to the jail. The cop asked him, so is your mom going to get you an attorney or do you need a PD? And he was like, I guess I need a PD. Because he didn't even know what a PD was. Let me excuse myself. He didn't understand what a PD was. He said, I guess I need a public defender because I don't know what's going on. And then he was denied bond because the judge had said to him, the court circuit judge had said to him, you live such a good double life, and I'm afraid to let you out because of how secretive you are. Now, you tell me what teenager isn't secretive in their phone. You tell me what teenager is just going to be like, let me see your phone. Sure, Mom, here's my phone. Sure, Dad, here's my... Nobody. So for her to say he lived a double life and that he's a danger to the community, I mean, I 100% agree with the child pornography laws. I do 100% agree with them. I think they're great. I think they're put in place to protect our children from grown men and women who prey on children who don't know right from wrong. You are using that charge against an 18-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl. There's no reason. Your abuse of power is ridiculous with this law. And like I had told Danita, and like I had told Larry, this law has to be changed. And if I have to go to Congress to do it, I will. Because this is not going to end when Eric's case is over. If he comes home or not, it doesn't end there. You cannot convict somebody. It has to do with all laws, not just this law, but you have to grow the laws with the generation. When these laws were put in place, the internet was in its infancy in the 90s. There was no cell phone. There was no texting. There was none of that. So you have to grow with the times. So if you're going to charge him on a law that was put in place 15 years ago, then you need to update the law.
I'm back. If I lose signal like that again, just continue talking. It's okay. It's raining. Okay. As you guys can see out there, it's raining really bad here in Florida. I am in Florida right now. So it's okay. You can continue because I don't want to interrupt the interview because we're having, trouble. Okay. So this is just so wrong in so many ways. Because first of all, I will be the second mom standing right there with you to change these laws, because this hits me in more than one way, which, we'll talk about that next week. Mm-hmm. And I'd love, if it's okay with you, Jessica, to have you back in 2 weeks. And I'd like to have you along with Danita, as well as Natalie, who's coming next week to this platform. I want to continue. When you've reached out to the attorney, to the public defender, right? Mm-hmm. How has his attitude been? How was he friendly? Did he answer your questions? And I will add, she received some information that she didn't have prior to this interview. So it makes her more confident with any answer she's giving to me, right? I will say that. So my question to you is, he in the beginning, he was very friendly. He was, he seemed knowledgeable. But the red flag for me, my first red flag with him was when my son was denied bond. That's number one. Like, how do you not get an 18-year-old kid with no criminal history, with a 2-year age gap from his victim, no violence, they never met, there was no penetration, none of that. How do you not get him out on bond? That's number one. My second red flag was that, and I remember this very clearly because it was on my birthday,
My son was arrested September 1st. September 11th, now that's 10 days after his arrest, I get a call from his public defender saying, I just put a plea deal in for 15 years. I had Eric sign it and we put it in. I said, you put a plea deal in for 15 years. You don't even have anything. Plea deal in for 15 years. You don't even there's no discovery yet. They don't know what they have. We don't know what they have. And luckily, the judge was smart enough to kick it back. The judge was like, I'm not accepting a 15-year deal from an 18-year-old kid when you don't even have discovery yet. Like, his phone hasn't even been downloaded yet at this point. And this public defender convinced my son to put a 15-year plea deal in 10 days into his case. Didn't even tell him that he could go to trial. So after I got that, and I was a mess, because I remember, because it was all my birthday, I was with my husband, I was with my in-laws, like, we were supposed to have dinner, and like, I couldn't even leave the room because I was crying so hard because my son just threw away his whole life. After we found out it was rejected, my son then says, well, you know what? I was talking to my mom and I want to go to trial. This public defender then tells my son, if you go to trial, you're going to lose. And if you lose, you're going to die in prison. So sign this plea deal for 17 years and let's see where it goes. My son's like, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. So this attorney is trying to put a plea deal in, which he did. I don't know how he did it, but he put another plea deal in for 17 years when my son told him, I want to go to trial. And he turns around and puts a plea deal in for 17 years. My son's not taking a plea deal.
Okay. So Damita has a question for you, and I have a response for what she just said. The question is, and I know she asked this, and it's reasons why she asked this, right? Mm-hmm. So has Eric even seen his indictment as the
Eric hasn't seen one piece of evidence against him in 8 months. He hasn't seen the pictures that they have. He hasn't seen a video that they supposedly have. He hasn't seen the text messages. He just saw his complaint form yesterday because I mailed it to him.
Okay. All right, Jessica, again, what was his public, because my brain, I do so much, I forget things, I have to have it written down. What was his public defender's name again?
His public defender's name is Mitch Beebehauser. He's out of the Federal Public Defender's Office in Wichita. Tell him I sent you.
So shame on you.
Okay.
So shame on you for even doing that after the kid told you, my mama said, no, we're going to trial. So now Damita's asking you, are you sure? I just wanted to say, you guys, I just really wanted to say that, because if that would have been my kid, I would have been over in Kansas. That's the kind of mom I am. And anybody who knows me knows.
I am 100%, but not on my defense, but before I talked to Larry and Damita, I didn't know that he was supposed to have his discovery. I didn't know any of this. Like, I'm learning along with everybody else. I may sound like I know what I'm talking about, but trust me, this is hours and days and months of just reading and absorbing the information that Damita and Larry had given me. Mm-hmm. And with their knowledge, his whole case is so contaminated. It's ridiculous. I mean, his complaint has interstate commerce clause in it, but then it also has that both of these girls are from Kansas. So how is interstate commerce involved when my son and these two girls are all from the same state? So how the interstate commerce law comes into effect, I don't know. There's a military clause in there that there's no military base in Kansas, so these girls don't live on a military base. My son isn't in the military. Nobody I know is in the military. And as far as like his discovery, everything that he's being told, like I said, is being told verbally. Excuse me, by his public defender. But what his public defender doesn't know is that I have his public record. And his public record states that his discovery is 882 pages and 5 video or audio clips. So if that's true, why are you telling my kid and myself they got like 20 pictures and they got 1 audio clip where it could be you, but we don't know, it's just audio. And they got 1 video clip where it's a 3-second clip where this girl's dancing around having a great time. And you can see the top of my son's head in like the little box at the bottom, like a FaceTime call. So let me, like, where's the other 800 pages of his discovery if that's what you're telling him? And where are these other 3 videos? Like, why are they only using what's good for them and not what's good for my son? And you as a public defender, you should say, okay, well, if these 2 videos show these girls sending all this stuff and doing all these things without being asked or provoked, I want those from my side for when we go to trial. If you're going to use a video of Eric laughing, watching a girl dancing for him, then I want to use the video of the girl sending, herself jumping on the bed naked or whatever the video may be. But he's not. He's throwing my son under the bus, and nobody's going to ride my kid into any record book but me. I mean, that's just that's my kid.
I gotta move it. My coffee.
I'm sorry. Here's coffee. Here. Yeah, but they're trying to use my son as an example, and this is why I started the GoFundMe page. This is why I need to get an attorney, because a private attorney that I've been speaking to, he told me, he's like, you don't let your son sign 1-day plea deal, let alone 25 years. He's like, this has to end in a trial. There's no way around it. Because even if my son took a plea deal, say for time served, right? Because they have no case, he would still have to register as a sex offender. He would not be able to pick up his little brother from school.
Are you there? Okay. I think they all have the same question because I'm reading it in different ways. Have you even had a chance to look at the indictment at all, Jessica? And you can answer that when you get back. I see you moving. I know what it's like to have a toddler.
No, I haven't seen it.
Have you?
No, I haven't seen it.
He hasn't seen it. No one's seen it. Got you.
That way.
So what Damita just wrote is, I guarantee the paid attorney based that comment on your word of mouth. Now, so you have put in to get everything, an open records request?
Yes, my son did. And it was
Okay.
granted. He's just not on the docket yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was granted,
Yes.
which is good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the advice, Lori, that's wonderful advice. Hi, Lori. She says to tell Eric, no more talking to anyone, period. Keep your mouth shut. Do not sign anything. And wait till you get a private attorney.
Yes. Hopefully I can
I
get
know
one.
you know this, Jessica. And of course, she knows this. And we're going to go there, Jessica. My question to you is, an 18-year-old with those type of charges, those are the big boys. That's kind of scary as a mom.
Mm-hmm.
overall, has it been okay under the circumstances?
I mean,
Since
under
he's
the
been in,
circumstances,
as hard as it is for a mother.
yeah, under the circumstances,
Bobby.
he's okay. If you know, I mean, he's okay.
Demita, you're really confusing me right now. We're
Yeah.
in the middle of an interview.
I'm confused.
So, y'all, okay. 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 So let's go back to, okay, so there's whatever, you got whatever file in the mail, right?
Yes.
Now you get the file, you have access to more things. Because I want to make sure that all of this,
Yeah.
can we wait till after the interview?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that all of this is, okay, hang on one second.
Yeah.
Lunchtime with Anna, how may I help you?
Yeah.
Hey, Davida.
I don't think like this. I
Okay,
just read the indictment. Your friend signed it. Larry and myself, we made everything on word of mouth. And I don't think it's what she reached out for help. She did exactly what a mom is supposed to do. But this indictment is a little bit more serious than what Jessica even knows. And that's why I need you to end the interview and let me talk to Jessica. When Jessica, it's not what you guys are thinking. It's a lot worse. It's a lot worse.
okay,
And Eric can tag Larry to talk to if you want. We read it, and yeah.
okay,
Basically, everything that she's telling you, that part, yeah, protect the children and all that. But there's a lot more on this indictment than what she knows. But Eric does know.
okay,
But it's not what you guys. It's not what you guys are thinking. It's a lot bigger.
okay,
And Jessica needs to end the interview. You
okay,
either call Larry or myself, either one.
okay.
And I will, you know.
Okay, so let me speak with her real quick.
Keep in mind, this is a federal. Let me say this. This is a federal case. Okay.
Demita, let me do something. Let me log off with you, and I'm gonna go ahead and just delete the entire interview. I will talk soon. All right, honey?
Okay.
All right, bye. Great. Jessica, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end the interview. Just because I want them to speak with you.
Yeah.
I send you a huge hug. Anything that you need me in, I will delete the interview right now. No worries about it. God bless you guys, and I will see you guys next week with Natalie. Huge hug to everybody. Bye.